What is up, everybody? This is SamTheSummoner bringing you another Marvel Contest of Champion video. In this video we're going to be showcasing my initial run for the Summer Smackdown Boss Rush Beta. The first fight in this Boss Rush is Human Torch. You can bring in almost any Incinerate immune champion to tackle this fight, and you're gonna have no problem dealing with him. He's a pretty straightforward fight. Just make sure you're comfortable dodging his specials. I am more comfortable dodging his SP2, so I usually try and push him to SP2. If you're more comfortable pushing his SP1, go right ahead. He isn't that difficult. It's just a regular uncollected boss fight that he came out as, and it's pretty much straightforward. Another champion that is actually on my roster that I could use against Human Torch is Void. He is Incinerate immune, and his debuffs, once they start getting the damage going, can actually make a real dent real fast on almost any champion in game. So I have honestly found a newfound love for the science champs that I have in my roster, namely Void and Red Hulk, this month, because they've actually been really helpful, especially dealing with Sasquatch. So as you can see, I'm 60 or so hits in, and I've pretty much dealt with Human Torch already with a rank 1 6-star Red Hulk, and he'll be down in 75 hits. The second fight in this week's boss rush is against Annihilus. I'm bringing in Symbiote Supreme to fight this guy because of his stagger ability, to see if I could if I do proc the unstoppable from Annihilus, I could stagger it. But I don't think it's quite as helpful with the resistor node in place. So I'm just gonna deal with him as best as I can and try and not get the unstoppable proc. I have been getting pretty good at actually intercepting him, so that's pretty good. That wasn't the best gameplay from me there, but believe it or not, I actually have been. He's a champion that I hated for the longest time to come up against in war, so I have been practicing him quite a bit. Any champions that you can use to deal with a lot of buffs can come in handy. So Morningstar, Magic, even a Scarlet Witch as a 4-star would actually be really nice. If you really want to cheese him, bring in a Ronin and just get him to his SP1, and it's easy game, easy life. And that's the fight done. So the third fight in this week is Cull Obsidian. Once again, a pretty straightforward fight. His special 2 is unblockable, so just be mindful of that and you're all good, to be honest with you. His SP fight is not a projectile, so it's pretty straightforward to dodge. So just do that and you're good to go. Again, I'm just going to try and push for the Symbiote Supreme rotation on this fight. I don't think I actually quite pull it off, even though the timing and everything is all there. It's just the matter of the fight actually just ends too soon. So I'm just gonna wait for him to throw his SP2, fire off an SP3, and take it from there. I think you could probably just get away with bringing in almost any high damage dealer to just end this fight real quick. Bringing in a Mystic champion would help because his root actually is a buff as well. He procs his Furies. So again, a champ, if you can bring in a champ that actually helps with him proccing his buffs and use it to your advantage, you're good to go. Now this actually is the fight that I hated the most. I don't think I do so bad on this in this matchup, but I hate fighting Ebony Maw because of his stupid deterioration. The key here is to try and just not let him hit your blocks as much as you can, so intercept is the way for this fight. I've brought in Void to fight against him because he is my best science champ I take to deal with annoying Mystic fights, and Ebony Maw can be one of the most annoying ones, to be honest. He is honestly my EQ Doom Killer. Other science champions that could be good for this Ebony Maw would be Human Torch, Red Hulk. A Gladiator Hulk would be really good as well based on his damage limitation. He would actually be pretty great for this fight because that would lessen the damage you take. And yeah, so there are other mechanisms here that actually could make the fight go better with Ebony Maw, but as long as you can keep the fight more in your control and take it less blocked hits, you're good to go. The next fight is Invisible Woman, and she will actually make you cry if you don't have the right counters for her. I brought in a Blade because I actually use Blade mostly to help counter her, but her on a Masochism can actually be a lot more painful to deal with, and as you can see here, I actually get very lucky fighting her in this fight. You'll see that a little bit down the line too. With this fight, you gotta bring in somebody like Nick Fury, Gwenpool, Squirrel Girl. Another great champion to deal with her would be Archangel, with all the bleeds and neurotoxins and poisons to deal with her stupid invisibility. Now Blade is usually a very good choice to deal with Invisible Woman, with him being able to proc bleeds on parries, but with her on a Masochism node, that's actually something that I didn't anticipate as well. I do still struggle through this fight. It's not too bad, but it really would have helped if I would have actually just gotten in my rank 4 Nick Fury, because he would have actually dealt with her so much better than I think Blade could. Personally for me though, I think fighting Invisible Woman, once you get a rhythm going, she actually can be pretty easy to deal with as long as you have the right counters with the bleeds. So I think at this point here, I've gotten into somewhat of a rhythm. I do mess up a little bit further down the line, but all in all, it's actually a decent effort. So I'm pretty happy with the way the fight went. I actually did another run of this fight after, and that didn't quite go as well. I got very lucky there. That was some crazy maneuver. I couldn't do that again. So as you can see, it took me a little bit longer than all the other fights, but she's slowly inching away to her death, and that's that with this fight, to be honest. Once again, just bring in a champ you're comfortable playing, a bleed champ, and you're golden. And there we go, she is down. For the last fight in this week's boss rush, you have to fight Namor. The thing to remember for this fight is that he has spite, and that's the key thing. Everything else is, it's basically a regular Namor fight. The spite is something that I actually forgot halfway into the fight, and you'll actually see that I mess up big style here. Any big damage dealer would be great for this fight, and as you can see here, I forgot about the spite node. He gained power and hit me with an SP3, which actually knocks me out. So mistakes were made, lessons were learned. Moving on. I really wish that, you know what, if I could have just pulled that off as a one-shot, it would have been fantastic, but I knew that wasn't gonna happen. So I'm pretty sure I take in Void to finish the fight off. Again, I couldn't sing any more praises for Void, to be honest, because that quirky way of him dealing with so much stuff and actually coming in handy where you wouldn't even think is pretty amazing. So again, just bring in any champ you're comfortable playing, just work around that stupid spite node and you'll be alright. As you can see, I pushed it pretty close again, I guess lessons weren't learned as well as I thought they were, but I get this fight down pretty easy once I get the rhythm going with Void. All in all, once again, this week's boss rush wasn't the most difficult content. It was basically just 6 uncollected boss fights back to back. It's actually been pretty fun to fight these fights. I am looking forward to the next week's boss rush already. If you don't have the champs that you think you need, try with some of the other alternatives, because it can actually be pretty fun dealing with them, and once you do get those fights with alternative champs, the sense of satisfaction is pretty great and huge rewards. So that's the bonus. That was it for this week's boss rush, guys. If you did enjoy the video, please smash that like button and subscribe to support my channel and help me grow. So until next time, guys, stay safe, take care, and I will see you in my next video.